Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 131. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards, and today we have Amy Oraefo. She is a owner and managing entertainment attorney at AOPC, a boutique law firm, and a Huff Post writer and contributor. Welcome, Attorney Amy.
How are you doing?
I am perfect. Thanks for asking. You know, I have given our audience such a brief bio. You have an extensive bio. So why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
Yes, my name is Amy Oraefo. I'm originally from Raleigh, North Carolina, and I reside in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta for about 8 years now. And my practice, Amy Oraefo PC, is a boutique law firm where I focus on corporate, entertainment, intellectual property, and business strategy. So I work with the crux of my client base are in the entertainment industry, specifically within music, content creation, and then also entrepreneurs. So I draft, review, negotiate various types of agreements, and then also protect my clients' respective brands through trademark and copyright, the enforcement and filing of trademarks and copyrights.
What was that aha moment, Attorney Amy, that you knew your business was going to be successful?
When I committed at the beginning, although it was hard just to stay the course and to only work with clients where I was passionate about, their project, their platform, or their work. And with that, as we often hear, if you stick to something and you're passionate enough, you work hard enough, then the money will come. So that's always been true to being, connected with the right people who are passionate about their work and their platform.
We know that the field of law is pretty extensive. There are so many different areas of law that you can practice, from divorce to child. It's just an array of fields. Tell us about your journey. How did you get into entertainment and contract law?
As I like to say, in my former life, I was an artist. I was a trained dancer for several years of my life. And I always said if I did not pursue it professionally, I needed to be needed, not wanted, because I'm a creative. As I often say, I'm a creative who happens to be an attorney. So I needed to be around that innovative energy and that need to create. So I said if I was not going to do it professionally and travel the world as a dancer or as a creative, I needed to work with that energy and those people to help them grow and protect their various brands.
When I was reading your bio, I knew it was something about you that stood out. The reason why I was so excited that we connected and that you're sharing your story on the podcast. But when you mentioned about the dancing, and as a dancer, that just really warms my heart. Because one of the things I love, I'm not a professional dancer, but I love to dance. And I've created an acronym behind dance, and it's called Determined Action Now Creates Energy. And one of the things that I look at when I think of dancers, people dance because they want to dance. They don't dance because you make them dance. They do what they love, and they love what they do. And so I'm hearing your energy and your passion and your synergy coming out. And it sounds like you have married your passion. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. I'm truly grateful for that. And that is my hope for everyone, that they marry their passion with their work. After all, you need to love what you do, not like it.
Tell us the process for you starting your company. How did that happen?
Yes, I always like to tell the story. So I moved to Atlanta at the end of 2011. And if we all remember 2008, it was the end of 2008, beginning of 2009, when we had the recession, and the market just opened up. Bottomed out, and in 2011 we were still going through a bit of the struggles within the economy. So I moved here saying, okay, listen, if I'm moving here, and it was a time in every industry, but I'll just speak for the legal community, where there were no new job offerings, there were lateral moves. So people that, at that point I had only been out of law school a little over a year. And so if anyone was going to get, promotions or stay in a job, it would be those seasoned attorneys. So I thought, okay, I'd come from a job where I was in-house counsel in Raleigh, North Carolina. And surely I thought if I moved here, it would be, easier to get, a corporate position or a position at one of these entertainment companies. Not so much when there's a recession. So with that, I wouldn't say forced me, that's the wrong word. It encouraged me and challenged me to create something that I had not seen. I said, okay, if I'm going to start from the bottom up, I have to do it my way. I have to start and work with people who I'm passionate about and causes I'm passionate about, and then just build it from the ground up. I didn't have one client. I didn't have professional contacts, just literally boots to the ground, just building a practice and staying intentional about my practice areas so that, people knew what services I had to offer.
That's one of the things, Attorney Amy, I hear is so important. So why don't you share, what advice would you give someone who's saying, I'm in her shoes? What is the first thing or the first 3 steps you tell them to do? Because you mentioned you didn't have the relationship. You didn't, come there with a list or a job. What advice would you give someone who's wanting to do exactly as you have done?
Yes, I would definitely say be intentional. I first and foremost am a woman of faith. So for me, it was a lot of prayer. It was a lot of faith, stepping on faith and believing in yourself, because it's a huge feat. And I often say if I thought about it too much, I would have scared myself and not done it. So it's just, betting on yourself. So I would say first, focus on being intentional and what you have to offer and honing your craft and your skill. Not being, a jack of all trades and a master of none. For me, being an expert and staying in my lane is very important. So it's just mastering your craft. So I would say step 1, to be intentional about what you have to offer. Entrepreneurship is about finding a need and meeting it. And then also being persistent. And when I say boots to the ground, that was grabbing coffee, lunch, and dinner for several years with people. Just so they will know I'm here and what I have to offer and to build organically. And then number 3, I would say learn how to be an asset in whatever setting you're in, and people will find out how to fit you in and work with you.
When you left North Carolina, did you leave with the intention? I think you said you were coming there to actually find a job. You wasn't coming there to start a business. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And then how did you build the business in terms of how did you finance the business?
So that was through savings, just being, always being very conscious of funds. My mother is retired now, but she was an auditor for the state of North Carolina. And my parents always made sure we were very fiscally responsible. So I've always been a saver in some capacity. Having that, not knowing what I was prepping for, but just having some savings, but that, and then also coming here and doing, like contract legal work and at times working free for people to get the experience, but living lean as I was building a company, because entrepreneurship is not impossible, but it's not easy. And I did not take the route where I transitioned from having a job and doing my, opening my company part-time. It was all in. It was, purely thrusting myself in this goal and this vision and this dream I had, and being able to properly finance that. So for me, it was big. I understand people need to get loans, but I did not get any loans. And I also have a business that doesn't have a lot of overhead, meaning providing legal services. As you grow, you can do anything from, in my field, you can have anything from having a virtual office to, your clients will grow with you. I do have an office space now, but at the beginning, there was no need for that. As you're growing, there was a lot of face-to-face meetings. So just being very lean in my cost and making sure it made sense as my business grew.
Attorney Amy, what problem exists in the world today that you would like to solve?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Homelessness. That is a massive issue. I think that affects and could, God forbid, affect anyone. As we hear, most people are a paycheck or two away from being homeless. I feel like no one should be homeless anywhere on earth, and that's a huge issue, whether it's here in Atlanta, throughout the United States, and various places in the world.
What are you reading right now?
Ooh, I am reading a lot of humor, a lot of my clients' contracts, which is always good. No complaints there. And then as far as books, one book I just finished reading, and I'm not currently reading anything now. It was L.A. Reid's book, Sing to Me. I'm a fan and I'm passionate about entertainment, so it's just his journey. I often like to hear people's journeys in their various spaces, especially in entertainment. So that is the last book I read recently, which was an autobiography of L.A. Reid's life about, everything from building LaFace Records to his career as a creative to, current day as an executive.
What advice you wish you had followed?
A few things. I would say enjoying the journey earlier in the journey. Because I struggle with a bit of impatience when I want something, but it's, digging my head so down into the sand and trying to build that you're not appreciating the moments of growth at times. So I would definitely say to step back a little more in my earlier part of my process and to appreciate the journey, the struggles that may come with the journey as well.
One of the things that's so important as an entrepreneur is your health.
Absolutely.
Talk about, what do you do to stay healthy?
I have what I call my non-negotiable devotion time in the morning. I have to pray and meditate and have even that's all the time I get to myself in the day. I don't care where I am on earth. I have to do that. And I travel quite a bit. So that is something that is my constant when everything else is unpredictable. And then also exercising. I do exercise just to keep, myself healthy. And I've been watching what I'm eating in the past couple of years, doing cleaner eating, still indulging when I want to at times, but being very consistent about, eating clean so that, I could stay as healthy as possible.
And when you talked about your eating clean, is there a certain program that you adhere to or you follow? There's so many different definitions of eating clean. Do you want to expound on that?
Absolutely. So I eat a lot of salmon. I eat a lot of fish. And then it's just eating lean meat. So I do eat meat, but I eat it sparingly. So, for example, I'll just give an example of how I live in my life. I don't bring much chicken into my house, but if I'm going, and what I do is a very social business and entertainment. So I eat a lot of, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with people. So I will choose to eat, maybe beef or chicken outside of the house, but I won't bring it in my house. I only bring like ground turkey and salmon. So eating very lean meats, and then choosing some days to alternate to not eat meat just to sort of trick the body. Lots of greens, complex carbs such as, white or brown rice, sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes. And just, I cut out the refined sugars. Like, I used to love juices. Don't drink that as much. But like I said, if I want a dessert, I'm going to eat it, here and there. But just absolutely watching, what I put into my body.
What can you do daily to be better?
I can work on slowing down, and slowing down meaning not overcommitting, because I want to help and do all things, but learning how to slow down at times and be present. I'm present sometimes, but to consistently be present, I could work on that.
Attorney, tell us, who are your top 2 influencers in your life and what lessons do they teach you?
I would say my father and my mother. My parents came to the United States as immigrants. They're from Nigeria. They came over 40 years ago, so I've watched them. They've been the biggest influences in my life. No excuses. They came, moved to another continent. I'm the youngest of 5 kids, had my siblings and I, and just literally, truly have lived the American dream. Have come here and worked really hard, had kids, never complained, gave us the best that they could, and gave us the greatest foundation. So they are my biggest influences.
What is one valuable lesson you wish you knew before starting your business?
I wish I knew how difficult it was to build what you call a book of business or clients. Huge. For people to know that it takes time. It does, whatever you're doing. Very few people start out and, hit it big. It can happen. I'm not saying it's impossible, but most of the time it takes perseverance and consistency. So just knowing how difficult and how long it can take to build like an adequate book of business or generate revenue.
We can learn from successful entrepreneurs like yourself or brands. Can you tell us a brand or a business that is dominating that you admire and why?
Absolutely. Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. I'm based in Atlanta, so it's headquartered here. But just everything from the culture to the service to the actual experience of the food is top notch. And if you think about it, you've never been to a Chick-fil-A where there was not quality service from top to bottom. So I often say Chick-fil-A should be a case study in business schools and various schools, just studying the brand and how successful it's been and the growth and just the leadership in general.
And thanks for that. I ask that question periodically, a lot, and I've never had anyone mention Chick-fil-A. Out of all the businesses, of course, we'll hear the Google and the Steve Jobs, those types of companies. And thanks for sharing that about Chick-fil-A. We had I think we have maybe 2 here in Las Vegas now, and a young lady who had relocated here. Well, she lives here, but she had gone to school in Oklahoma, I believe. They have a lot of them there. And She would always talk about Chick-fil-A. And then I was traveling and went to Utah and went there because she talked about it so much. And I don't know the experience, if I would have had a better experience. It was excellent customer service. For me, the food, I was trying to watch what I was eating. And so I was eating really healthy and it was okay. So, and I've not been back since, even since they've started. They have 2 of them here in Vegas. I've not been back, but thanks for that. It is the atmosphere, the ambiance, the inside, outside, everything is just really a wonderful experience. So thanks for sharing that.
Probably. If you ever find yourself in Atlanta, as we like to say, we have one almost on every corner because it's headquartered here. So I guarantee you, if it's one of those days where you can't have some fried chicken, then try out one of the chicken sandwiches or something, or even the salads. They're really good. Just everything from the service. And to your point, if you were to go to Chick-fil-A there and tell them you weren't exactly pleased with the service, they would do everything to make it right. Everything from giving you a card for service for a free meal the next time. It's just that impeccable type of service.
Right. And the point, and I hope that it came across, the point I'm making, I think that I should have had like some fried chicken from there, a chicken salad versus a grill. Not that it was bad, but it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It's like going, it was like back in the day, I went to a soul food restaurant and I was asking for a diet soda. They're like, no.
Exactly.
Right. So
you're like, you're going to come here and indulge, right?
Right. And I've not. And so I haven't indulged and I need to indulge. So tell us, what is your biggest achievement so far in your business?
My biggest achievement, I would say, is growing with my clients. And I give this answer because, as I mentioned, it's very important for me to align myself with people and causes and platforms that I believe in. So when they are growing, I'm growing, and I'm just as happy and satisfied as they are. So I would say growing with my clients and having that loyalty and longevity with some of the people I've been with, that has been the most rewarding part of my business.
You talked about what you believe in terms of, is there a social cause or a nonprofit that you tie to your business personally, Attorney Amy?
So there are a few causes that I'm attached to. So I find myself helping wherever I can, but there's an organization called Georgia Lawyers for the Arts. So I'll offer pro bono services as an entertainment attorney for clients who may not have the financial means to afford an attorney, but they do need help in various ways to, grow and protect their brand. So I volunteered through that organization. And then as needed throughout the year, everything from if there is a homeless shelter that I need to go and help, or just as needed. And, I'm in other organizations where they will reach out to professionals in the community to assist. And that's mentoring, young students going to speak at universities and schools. So I help as needed, regardless of the cause, because, there are various needs and causes. So, I roll my sleeves up whenever asked and needed.
Talk to a you. What advice would you give to a younger you?
Definitely say to, as I said earlier, to be present in the moment, because they looked up. I've owned my own practice for 7 years now, and I remember the first few years were a blur because I was so committed to, trying to crack the code to figure it out, and we're not supposed to figure everything out. So I would go back to one of my previous answers to say to be more present. Of course, I've had a lot of amazing, fulfilling experiences and having a lot of fun, but in certain seasons, I would look up and say, oh, 9 months just passed by and I can't really remember what happened. That's never good, because it means that you weren't able to, as they say, smell the roses around you. So it would just be to, be present in the moment and know that, everything will fall into place.
What is a technology tool or a technology platform that is a must-have for you in managing your business day to day?
I would say the platforms I use, it's QuickBooks, which is great for business owners as far as billing and invoicing and just keeping track of expenses. And then also something called Clio, which is a legal platform, online platform for lawyers, for everything from billing to invoicing and time management. So those are 2 must-haves for me.
If someone wrote a book about you today, what would we learn that we don't know?
I am very resilient. I think resilience is a powerful skill. I failed many times, but you have, but it's not going to define me. It's not going to defeat me. So I will brush myself off and, regroup and try again. So I would say the book, if it had to be a title, would be Resilience.
How do you include your personal life, your family life, and your business life?
I have the most supportive family ever. So they are very connected with me and know my drive and my commitment to grow my business. So they make my journey easier, more digestible. And then also I am grateful literally to absolutely, and it's not a cliche, I absolutely love what I do. So what I would do for fun, I am blessed to do it for work. So I would, represent artists for free. I would, and through the benefit of that, I'm able to go to, live shows and sporting events, all the things that I love in entertainment, but I'm representing those people who do it. So my work is my fun and my fun is my work. So
I love that. Attorney Amy, what have you not done in life that you dream about often?
That is such a profound question. That's why you received that response from me. I'm a traveler. I've traveled to several countries, but there's still so many places I want to go that you find it's as we say, we lack time or there's not time or whatever, excuse, I'm doing air quotes maybe, then just to continue to travel more, see more of the world. It makes you more cultured, shapes you. I know the experiences I've had when I've gone to various countries and even different cities within this country that have to offer. So doing even more travel than I do. I leave the country. I made a goal a few years ago to leave the country at least 4 times a year, and I've been doing that. But there's so many places to go. So traveling even more and going to, places I never, imagined being. That's always going to be on my list.
Talk about your legacy. When it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I want people to remember that I want everybody around me to succeed. I was an encourager, that I motivate people. I, in some capacity, I hope I inspired them to fulfill their dreams and to, be good to others. And just that I treated people well in the process. And I helped, in some capacity, being around them, helped them believe that, what they had in mind, that their dreams and goals were attainable.
What do you do when you hit that bump in the road? How do you adjust and reset?
Well, that's an excellent question. I go to prayer. I pray, and I am huge about spending alone time. So just sitting in my thoughts and figuring out what the current triggers or issue may be, and then literally, giving it to God and just going about my day. And it helps that I love what I do, because it's a welcome distraction in those moments, because we are human. We have those moments where you feel burned out or you're tired or there's an obstacle that you just feel like, okay, there's not time for this right now, but you have to, that's life, right? There are a lot of things that may poke around the corner, but it's just knowing to stay grounded and rooted that, this too shall pass. It's just my parents often say it's a setback for a setup for something great that's going to happen. So,
as consumers, what is something we should know about your industry that we don't know?
As far as I would group the entertainment and intellectual property industry. I'm passionate about, I've been going around for a few years talking to entrepreneurs and entertainers about the importance of intellectual property. So often people in both entrepreneurship and entertainment, for various reasons, I'll speak with entertainment first, they do not view, a lot of content creators do not view themselves as a business or an entity. And it shows in the way they, run their business or their practice or the lack thereof. So it's teaching them, giving them the tools to treat themselves as an entity, setting up a company, an LLC, setting up in a corporation, setting up into getting an EIN number and a bank account so that you'll separate your business expenses from your personal expenses. Just giving those types of tools and letting entrepreneurs, both in entertainment and various industries, know that intellectual property is such a massive asset to build a portfolio of trademarks for your company name. If you're an entertainer, for your stage name, for the products and services you provide, because if someone needs that, then they have to come to you when you own it, and then you can create additional revenue and a licensing fee by giving them the right to use it for compensation. So just educating people about the importance of business matters and then intellectual property.
Tell us a song title that would best describe you or your brand.
I would say Kanye West's song called Stronger. That is definitely one. That song came out well over probably 10 years ago, but it's a song. It says harder make you better, faster, stronger. Like that doesn't kill you will make you stronger. We've all heard that saying. So whenever something's difficult, it just iron sharpens iron. It makes you tougher. It makes you more equipped for the next, circumstance, journey, battle, or success.
Attorney Amy, let's shift gears for a moment. Talk about that worst moment in business. Tell us about it and what was your takeaway?
I know one of the lowest points in business, I cannot remember, it was between like year 2 or 3, but it was earlier on in business. That's the part I talked about, which was difficult. I remember it's just, as hard as you try, as hard as you work, and if people, don't know who you are out in the community, they can't work with you, as I often say. People can't work with people they don't know. So it just being a really financially trying time. And I'm not a quitter. I shit through everything. But I remember there's one time I was like, okay, is this what I'm called to do? So my faith was tested. I was tested as a person. I like to think of myself as a strong person and personality. But it just was, a time I was financially strapped. There was a lot of struggle. But as I mentioned, with resilience and perseverance, as God will have it, things turned around, and I, made a challenge. Like, if I'm supposed to do this, it does not need to be an expensive hobby. It needs to be something where I'm generating revenue and profit. And I was able to turn it around and just re-strategize an approach and just being intentional, as I mentioned earlier, about who I want to work with, what I want to offer, and the journey I want to take with various companies and individuals. So just being intentional with that, and eventually, I was able to break through and get to where I was working and aligned with people that I really wanted to be aligned with at the time.
Talk about that person in your childhood or your lineage that inspires you.
Definitely going back to my parents. I'm inspired by them every day. Like every day I talk to them. It's, they pray over me, cover me, and then just their journey. Like I said, single-handedly, the most influential people in my life are my mother and my father. So just having them and watching their resilience and their hard work and their support of me accomplishing my dreams, because, a lot of people could say, oh, go work for, a larger firm full-time, or go do the, what seemed to be the conventional way, because starting a business from the ground up is, never really the conventional way, but it's what pleases people. But my family have, they've been huge supporters of me accomplishing my dreams.
And your family was super supportive of you starting your own business, coming out of from a corporation to starting your own, or did you get some kind of resistance?
No resistance at all. I often say my parents especially know, my family knows I'm a bit of a free spirit. So I'm one of those people who you have to let ebb and flow. That's the creative nature in me, knowing that, and they know I'm not afraid to fall or fail at something. So they're like, okay, listen, if she's committed to this, we're just gonna sit back and we know Amy. She's whatever she puts her mind to, she'll figure out some capacity. She's not afraid of getting a few bumps and bruises along the way.
Tell us about your most memorable moment in life or business.
A memorable moment, I would say, was actually when I first started my business. I literally remember the day I went to open it, July 12th, 2012. And it was a small moment, but a small moment to others, but it was big to me because it reaffirmed that, I was about to go on a journey of unknown, but I was betting on myself. So I would say that to shape me quite a bit. In the middle of, not knowing, I was in a new city. I didn't know many people, as I mentioned. I didn't have any clients. So if that's not betting on yourself, then I don't know what is. So for me, in that moment of even getting started and not having all the answers was huge.
Did you have a mentor?
Initially, when I started, I did not. But as I continue to grow my career, I've had several mentors. As they say, you need a team of mentors. So I do have several mentors that have offered various things in my life. So as far as, well, let me go back. I did have a mentor when I started within entertainment, but as far as starting my business in Atlanta, Georgia, in that time when you need sort of a face-to-face mentor, at that time I started, I did not. But then, it evolved to, you have to just put yourself out there, letting people know that they would see that I would put my head down. I'm willing to work. I'm hungry for knowledge. I'm willing to humble myself. And then through that, people, by the grace of God, gravitate towards that. And I've been able to build. And after that, I have a plethora of mentors that offer various things.
How do you vet a mentor?
I think it is a mutual process. So the mentor has to be available and have the capacity to take on a mentee, because I do know what that feels like now. I remember being in a poster saying, I would love for somebody to be my mentor. But it has to be organic. As I'm in a position now where I'm grateful to serve as a mentor to others, it's just knowing that there's a connection and a bond with you and that person, and there is a mutual benefit. The mentor is not just pouring into the mentee, it's vice versa. The mentee is pouring into the mentor. So that's usually a way to vet. When it's somebody who's not, coming to take, they're coming to, of course, they're going to learn things. You're in a position where you want to be a blessing to people, but they're also willing to serve as an asset and a resource for you as well.
What drives you every day, Attorney Amy, to continue to do what you do?
My absolute love for encouraging and empowering people. It drives me every day because at the core, regardless of what I did, I'm an encourager and I love to empower people. I'm just grateful to be able to do it through the platform of a lawyer, the legal community. So anytime I get to encourage and empower others, I'm living in my true passion and my true element.
One of the things that I like that you said in the interview is you've used that a great deal. Very inspiring words. A lot of words are alive. Your energy is just so vibrant, and it's just coming through on the phone. So I'm hearing, inspiring, encouraging, empowering, and the fact that you are authentically you in your own lane. And I'm listening to this interview as I'm giving the interview, and I'm hearing someone say, how do you get to that point, Attorney Amy? How do you get to be authentically you? How do you get to show up each and every day doing what you love and loving what you do? Can you give any advice for someone listening that's saying, that is the life I want? How do you find that?
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's so profound. As I was listening to you, I was like, oh, so thank you. It is stay the course. I know that, and I'm not making it sound simple, because there have been days where, like I told you, I never thought I never, consider myself to be a quitter, but there were some days I did want to, throw in the towel, but just being transparent with people. And then I always promise God, if you give me some kind of platform, whether it's small or great, then I'll, share, the good and the bad, just so people will know that we are human in the process. So how does that happen to be authentically you? It is just not being afraid to ask yourself questions, to allow yourself to be disappointed, to allow yourself to grow, to allow yourself to be encouraged and be human in the process, to ask questions, to confirm and let people know you don't know everything, and then to, on the flip side, to stand in your truth and your confidence when you have attained some skills and not be arrogant, but be confident in what you have to offer the world. So it's just being human is the best way to describe it, allowing yourself to go through all the emotions, but at the core knowing that you have a gift and you have a platform that only you can offer, and standing in that. And no two people, whether they're identical twins, have the same thing to offer this earth, and just being true to that.
What is your vision for the next 5 years?
My vision for the next 5 years is to continue to have my hope is to have a larger platform to encourage and empower people. I'm doing more of this speaking engagements, being able eventually to be a blessing, and a resource financially and otherwise to entrepreneurs and business owners to be able to invest in their brands, to help grow and invest in their brands. And also what's very important to me, which is one company I've started in Lagos, Nigeria, is to be able to bridge the gap between the continent of Africa and North America, the various continents, because I have a duality in culture. I'm Nigerian American, so that's always been a passion of mine to do work, both, in both starting at Nigeria. Obviously, I'm a bit biased because I'm Nigerian, and then it rippling throughout the continent of Africa, and then being born in the United States. And then, the various impacts that happen in the U.S. and North America, just being one of the people who's in the conversation to bridge the gap between the two continents of North America and the continent of Africa.
Can you tell us one of the most vital, life-changing piece of advice that you could possibly share with us?
I would say it was to make yourself an asset. That's one of the biggest pieces of professional information I ever heard, and it's tried and true every time. It is when you make yourself an asset, and that's relative. What does that mean? It means just even asking someone, what can I do for you? Or something as simple as texting or calling someone when they cross your mind. When you build organically with people and they know that it's an authentic bond, believe me, whether it's personal, professional, they, like I said earlier, they will find a way to fit you in their lives because it's authentic and it's not forced and there's trust there. So being an asset and building trust with people is absolutely invaluable. They'll bend over backwards to make sure that you get whatever you need out of the situation.
Attorney Amy, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question that you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Ooh, that is powerful. I say, what is my greatest fear? And I would say my greatest fear, I wanted to ask a hard question for myself. My greatest fear is not accomplishing my said goals and not leaving an impact that was worthy in my career. And all of that is sort of big and bold, but it's relative. Like, I know what makes me get up. Like, if I'm not empowering, encouraging others, it's not a good day. If even in my bad days or my bad moments, if I'm not able to do that, so my greatest fear is not leaving an impact. Like,
what is the one impact you want this interview to give to our audience?
I want somebody to hear this and know that whatever they were told they couldn't do or they believe they couldn't do, it's not the truth. That anything is possible. It may sound, as I said, cliche, but literally anything is possible. And the worst thing, if you try it, you don't like it or you fail, try something again. It's not the end of the world. So if somebody at the sound of my voice, I hope that they are encouraged and inspired for that thing or that dream they've been sitting on for a few years to activate and do it.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
I am.
Attorney Amy, the last movie you saw?
It was Avengers Endgames.
You relax doing what?
Listening to music.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Can I have two?
Absolutely.
my favorite. I'll follow directions. Michael Jackson. Favorite rapper. Oh my gosh, that is difficult, but I will go with Tupac.
Your favorite dance song?
My favorite dance song. Oh, this is hard. I need more choices. In the vein of just staying with Michael Jackson, I would say Thriller, just with the Michael Jackson. There are too many Michael Jackson songs to choose from, but I'll just choose Thriller.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Salmon.
And your favorite month?
December is my birthday.
Before we conclude, why don't you share with our audience, Attorney Amy, what is the best way for our audience to connect with you and to support your business?
Oh, thank you. The best way to reach me on all social media handles is at Amy O Said So, and that is Instagram, Twitter, and then on Facebook and LinkedIn, I'm Amy Oraefo, and my last name is spelled Oraef as in Frank O, and my first name, Amy, is AMY. So that's a great way to reach out to me. And on my social media platform, I various inspirational quotes and just tidbits of knowledge within entrepreneurship and entertainment, everything from intellectual property to tips for songwriters and artists within entertainment and entrepreneurship.
Attorney Amy, thank you so much. That's a wrap.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.